The reason it's important now is it's never been as under threat.
Hollywood stars like Jason Isaacs, Pauline Chalamet, Alex Borstein, Alan Ruck, and more are advocating for what they call the right to bear arts. I'm Tiffany Taylor for The Hollywood Reporter here on Capitol Hill, where today we're following a group of actors and business leaders brought together by the Creative Coalition as they fight for funding for the National Endowment for the Arts. Since it was founded in 1989, the Creative Coalition has joined forces with some of the biggest film and TV stars for Arts Day, where a group of Hollywood notables, along with business leaders, get on a bus and head to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., to advocate for why the U.S. government should continue funding the National Endowment for the Arts, also known as the NEA. But as the Trump administration has been making major cuts to government-funded programs, the NEA has never been in more danger.
Well, there's some things like, well, we're cutting everything across the board. Why shouldn't you get cut? And the truth is, if you invest in kids now, then you're going to have better citizens later.
On this year's Arts Day, the group, which was divided into 3 teams, met with congressional staffers on both sides of the aisle, but mainly Republicans.
Something that we're hearing from some of the offices that we're visiting is that sometimes there's a misunderstanding of what a lot of the funding for the NEA goes to. For instance, the NEA is going towards the big cities and is funding the opera houses or things that maybe culturally don't really align with a lot of different constituents around the country's beliefs and values. But the thing is that it's actually funding arts programs, education programs in a lot of rural communities.
Most staffers the group met with agreed that funding the arts is important to them and the communities their bosses represent. But for those who asked, how does this make sense financially? They had answers.
This is an investment. It's an investment in our country's future, and it's an investment in our GDP and growing our net exports. And I think that perspective changes the idea that the arts is something that is ancillary or extra. This is something that's required that drives our economy forward.
At the end of a day of numerous meetings with both congressional and White House staffers, a congressional briefing, and even a ride on the Capitol subway, many members of the group left feeling positive and even hopeful.
I think I came in a little scared that we would be hitting some walls. But yeah, it was really encouraging, kind of the conversations we were having in those rooms.
I thought they went really well, maybe better than I expected.
It was glorious. Everyone was attentive and engaged, and that seems to be the case with everyone because we were sort of split up in groups.
I was moved by today and how many of the staffers all respond to the arts, all had arts education and know how valuable and important it is.
I was very nervous. I was very scared, not about my performance or how we would do in the room, but about the state of things in general. And I left with a modicum of hope. These meetings they're very old school. You sit in a room, face to face with other human beings. You explain your cause, you talk about what you need, and there's communication, there's questions. You answer those questions. You ask them questions, they answer you, and there's a lot of honesty. I was very hopeful by the ability to sit down and actually communicate.
But for others, a feeling of uncertainty still remained.
There was a kind of look of confusion on everybody's face because no one really knows what's going on. And it makes it so you have to be nimble and be willing to pivot. But I think that we were very well received. It's just that no one really could say this is what's happening or this is not what's happening. It was kind of like, we'll see what happens and maybe we'll be able to work together.
Every organization and every institution is under threat, but this is such a minuscule budget and it has such a huge bang for its buck. It would seem to be insane to threaten it or do away with it, but there are more insane things going on.
For more on the work that the Creative Coalition is doing, go to THR.com. For The Hollywood Reporter News in Washington, D.C., I'm Tiffany Taylor.